How's it going, Falcons Nation? I didn't even want to make a video tonight, but I felt like with everything that's going on, I gotta say something because my head's gonna explode. This is not a political video, so don't worry about that. But I do want to talk about racial injustice in sports, in life, and is it even worth continuing sports right now at this moment? As you know, the Milwaukee Bucks protested their game, boycotted their game due to the man who was shot in Kenosha. And I asked the question again, is football even important right now? Are Falcons games even important right now? Because I'm telling you right now, it don't matter how many touchdowns Matt Ryan throws, how many catches Julio Jones has, how buddy they are in the locker room. The fact is, the moment they leave that stadium and get in their cars, if they are both pulled over by the police, the odds are, the data shows, Matt Ryan will be treated a lot more fairly than Julio Jones will be treated. If you look at the Washington Redskins, the owner did not want to change the racist name. He fought against it, said he ain't never changing the name. The moment his sponsors came out and told him, we gonna pull your money, all of a sudden, he comes out the next day and wants to change the name. And he's all happy to do it. So, social change doesn't come with hoping and praying or acting like racism doesn't exist. We keep playing sports and entertaining folks. That's all they want you to do. Because the moment you stop entertaining and you start being a real person and speaking your mind, that's when they tell you to shut up and dribble. That's when they tell you, oh, you just an athlete. You don't deserve to have an opinion or talk. Notice how they don't have a problem with you when you playing sports and being all happy because it's their entertainment. They don't care about the person outside of the helmet, outside of the jersey. They only want you for your entertainment. This goes back to Roman times with the gladiators who were slaves. And as long as the gladiators were entertaining themselves, were entertaining the kings, the emperor, they are allowed to have a brief moment of freedom and cheers and applause. But the moment the show was over, they were either killed or they were back into enslavement. And so I asked, is sports important? What can black people do to fight racial injustice? Well, one of them is our right to protest, which seems to be under attack right now, but don't get it twisted. It is a constitutional right that we have a right to protest. I'm not talking about burning cities down and all that stuff. I'm talking about right to protest. And don't think for a second that people won't try to take that away as well, because that is part of systematic racism. Yes, I did not grow up in the times of my father where he had legal discrimination, segregation, etc. But growing up, there were subtleties of racism all over the place still. I remember being in first grade, playing pickup football, recess, and if kids didn't like the way you were playing against them or you embarrassed them or whatever, next play, you would hear them under their breath call you the N-word. You would hear it. In college, I was out with my friends, with me and three of my best black friends, and we was driving back to campus, and this is in Central Illinois, because I went to Eastern Illinois, home of Tony Romo. We got pulled over by the cops. They ran all of our IDs. They did not tell us what we did wrong. I was going the speed limit. I was completely sober. No one in the car had been drinking, nothing. We went out to go get some food and come back. I asked what I got pulled over for. The cop told me to shut up, or else he would take me to jail. He got all of us out of our car and made us all face the hoods of the car, chest on the car, and don't say a word until he ran our IDs. And when he came back, another one of my friends said, what did we do wrong? He told us to shut up again. And he asked us where we were from. And we told him We go to this school. We on campus right down the road. He said, nah, where are you really from? And, one of my friends, he said Calumet City. A couple of my other friends, Chicago, south suburbs of Chicago, north suburbs of Chicago. And he looked at all of us and he said, y'all's a long way from home, ain't you, boy? And right then I knew exactly what he meant when he said that. And then he proceeded to tell us that we do not belong around here and we need to get out of here before we get in trouble. And he still did not tell us what we did wrong. Then he proceeded to tell me, I could have wrote you up for your headlight being out. And I said, officer, my headlights are perfectly fine. And I looked right at them. They were shining perfectly fine. And he said, I told you what I told you. And if you say anything else to me again, then you're going to take a ride with me. The headlights were working fine. And we still didn't know what we was pulled over for. But it was obvious what we was pulled over for. He didn't want us in his little neighborhood. And he didn't believe that black people can ride freely in this southern town. So don't think for a second that if you close your eyes and watch sports and you see that people are getting along on the field and they're millionaires, that racism is dead. Don't think for a second because we had a black president that racism is dead. It's not. It's alive and well. And a lot of people will tell you or tell athletes, they should be grateful. They're millionaires. They're playing sports. It's like them saying, be grateful that you're free and you have a chance to actually have a job because pretty much you don't deserve one. We have a right to capitalism and to enjoy the freedoms of everyone else. But for some reason, when we get them, it's like we should feel grateful for them. And so, as black people empower, the rich ones, they have that leverage. Pull away the entertainment, pull away the cash cow machine that is sports, and let's see how people function. Because when the money dries up, trust me, then all of a sudden people, oh my God, they want social change. Don't think it's going to come from hashtags or tweets or anything else. No one cares about that stuff. Social change comes from action. You got to take it. You can't just sit around and expect it to happen. So I appreciate what the Milwaukee Bucks did. And I appreciate the other sports coming out and doing it as well. And I just want to say, essentially, we should get to a point where all lives matter. But right now they don't. So that's why black people are saying Black Lives Matter. Because right now it's only white lives matter. And it's obvious that we don't get the same benefits of the doubt when it comes to the law that white people do. What happened to due process? What happened to someone's day in court? Now that you can just blast on somebody and say, well, he was selling cigarettes, so I had to take him down. Or they don't even have to wait to see a weapon. They just shoot and say, well, I thought he had a weapon. The cell phone kind of looked like a weapon. He was jiggling in his pocket. I don't know. What happened to probable cause? What happened to waiting to see the crime actually happen? What happened to de-escalation techniques first, then restraint, then taser, then lethal force if you have to? That's the chain of command that should happen. For those of you that don't know, in my personal life, I've been in the social work field for a long time. One of my first jobs for 3.5 years, I worked as a mental health specialist in a residential treatment facility. And we had people, troubled at-risk kids, attack you with weapons, their fists, whatever. And they was up to the age of 21, and a lot of them were twice my size. And no matter how violent they were, I was not allowed to punch them back or do any type of illegal moves on them. And I was able to manage to restrain these kids under the guise of how we were trained to de-escalate them and secure them into a timeout room or whatever you want to call it. But you're telling me trained police officers don't know how to properly restrain somebody, one person with 4 officers around them, without blowing them away or without choking them to death. But little old Jeff, and I weigh like 165, I was able to I've restrained 2 kids by myself before. I didn't need a weapon. I didn't punch nobody. I didn't send anybody to the hospital. And I definitely didn't use a weapon. That goes to show you that they don't want to do it. Why? Because the black skin is more fearful than someone with an actual weapon in their hand. So don't get it twisted what we're up against. And I just ask people, again, is sports right now really worth it? Yeah, it feels great to get away for a second and just enjoy the thrill of sports. But that doesn't change anything once the TV is off, once those players go home, once we are done with watching the game and we go out. The same thing is going to continue to happen. So I ask everybody to stay safe, stay vigilant. Please, do what you got to do. Vote, protest peacefully, and just speak out when you see injustice. Because if we act like it's not there, you are just as guilty as those who are perpetrating the racism. And that's all I got to say. I hope everybody stays safe. I'm out.